It's one thing to live in the moment when you're in your meditation position, but this episode is really about how do we stay mindful in everyday life. Hello! And welcome to episode 14 of Brolosophy. I am Mike Fio.
And I am Nick Fio.
And we are the Fio Bros.
And our intention with this podcast is super simple. To share practical wisdom for a happier, more fulfilling life, and sometimes to make you laugh.
Yeah. And today we are talking about living in the moment. It's something that we've heard a million times before. Every self-help book, every spiritual guru is going to tell you the importance of living in the moment. And it can get really, really old. But we're still going to talk about it today because it is important. Because who the hell wants to get to the end of their life, be on their deathbed, and realize that they spent most of their life not living in the moment? When the moment, that present moment, that fleeting, repeating present moment was the only thing we ever had. And we're going to get to the end and realize, oh shit, I spent my whole life inside my head. So today's episode is about how to avoid that. How to avoid getting to the end and feeling like, oh my God, I just wasted my entire life. That was horrible.
How to get out of your head.
So we're not professionals by any means. We have attended 10-day meditation retreats, so we know what living in the moment looks and feels like. But like you said, it's a lot harder once you leave that 10-day meditation retreat after meditating for God knows how many hours to go back to normal life. But we have found these 3 tools, these 3 techniques, life hacks, whatever you want to call them, to be really, really effective for us. And they're super, super simple. And that's what we're about to go through right now.
Yeah. But before we get into that, we're going to have to ask you to hit that subscribe button.
Just smash that subscribe button. Just smash that like button.
If you can do that, that would mean the world to us. It'll allow us to get more videos to you and to get these videos watched by more people and bring more people into this community to discuss philosophy and big ideas and improve the quality of people's lives. So thank you for doing your part. Appreciate you being here. Love you. Now back to the episode.
And if you didn't, get the hell out of here. No, I'm just kidding. I love you anyway. All right, so number 1, Nick, what is life hack, mindfulness hack number 1?
Yes, so our listicle. I love these listicles. Number 1 on our listicle of 3 actionable tips for being mindful in everyday life is to use your 5 senses. Tell us a little bit about that, Mike.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just took a sip of this drink. This is not an ad, by the way. Just really like Celsius. And I didn't use this tip number 1. But good thing we're making this episode so that I can start using this tip. Basically, your 5 senses are your portal into the present moment.
I like that.
Yeah.
Portal.
I just came up with that on the spot.
That's what presence will do to you, huh?
Yeah. So we're going to test it out right now. Whether you are watching this or listening, we're going to use all 5 of our senses. Okay? Step number 1 is touch. Are you sitting down right now? If you are, feel the weight of your feet on the ground, or if you're super short, dangling in the air. Feel the weight of your butt in the chair. If you're standing, feel the weight of your feet standing on the ground. If you're walking, feel the weight of every step. Next, use your eyesight. What are you staring at right now?
Your ugly mug.
My ugly mug. I'm staring at your stupid Yankee hat that you thought was a good idea today.
Get a fresh cut later.
But a good idea for the sight one is pretend your eyes are like you have cyborg vision where like you can zoom in or zoom out without changing where you're looking. So like try right now to see more than just my ugly mug and like the rest of the room. Like use the peripherals. Like really get into the moment of what you're seeing.
They're saying like open the perspective, open up your
eyesight perspective, yeah.
Yeah.
Then what are you hearing? Right now, other than my voice, I hear some cars along the highway in the background. I hear, now that I'm paying even more attention to it, a little bit of like an echo in this room. The more you pay attention to the sounds, the more subtle and into the moment you start to get.
Uh-huh.
What do you smell? I smell your armpits. They smell like garlic. I don't smell anything right now. The smell is really a difficult one. It's one I rarely use. How about you?
Well, being that I have a deviated septum, I can
You can't smell shit anyway. Yeah, you could just skip the smell unless you smell something that's
it's sometimes
pungent.
I like cologne though. That's why sometimes I like wearing cologne.
Are we missing any? Taste, touch. Oh, taste. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just, that's more important when you're eating.
or drinking.
Yeah.
You're drinking your Celsius there.
But just doing that exercise just brought me it just slowed down time. I feel like right now we are way more present than before we did that. Yeah. So it's proof that this shit works.
Yeah. And I think the important thing to know is that, go the opposite route. Why are we so often not connected to our five senses?
Lost in thought.
Lost in thought, but also I think it's our brain trying to preserve energy almost sometimes. It's like, okay, I've had this drink before, right? So I'm just going to...
Familiarity bias.
It's the familiarity bias, right? We're trying to just save energy, is what I think our brain is trying to tell us.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's true.
Yeah.
I think that by actually slowing down and feeling each moment, you get more energy.
Yeah. And it's funny, if you can keep this top of mind, that using your five senses, the one that comes most often to me is the body awareness, the touch.
Yeah.
Yesterday we went to the Ranger game, and I vividly remember going to the bathroom and peeing in the urinal and feeling myself peeing in the urinal. I felt my feet on the ground and the urine leaving my body, and how good that felt.
Wow, this is a great explanation for people listening to think about you urinating in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. Peeing feels great if you actually pay attention to it.
It's a great feeling. You know what? On that note,
it's borderline orgasmic.
I am guilty of this.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to take...
I'm actually guilty of this. Whenever I go to the bathroom and take my phone with me, it's almost become I don't even remember going to the bathroom because I'm automatically using it as an opportunity to check my phone. Yeah. And I think that's a real opportunity here, is when you're going to the bathroom, trying to go without checking your phone. I know going number 2 without your phone is pretty difficult in this day and age. So maybe just starting with
you really want to feel that shit out, literally. You got to feel that shit out.
All right, on that note, on to number 2. You see what I did there?
Ooh, wow. That was good.
Number 2.
This presence is giving us superpowers.
Okay, so number 2 on our list of actionable tips for being mindful in everyday life is to use an anchor.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, Michael.
One thing that we learned from Eckhart Tolle and his book, The Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle, by the way, if you don't know him, is the second coming of Jesus Christ. He's a spiritual guru, and just, I don't know, you just got to look him up because he's just nuts and the most present human being of all time. And he's totally awakened. It's very weird, man, but he's adorable. Anyway, he wrote a book called The Power of Now. And in it, he talks about the power of finding this anchor. And he talks about how consciousness in the moment is really not black and white. So it's not like you can't be thinking or doing something or be present. You can have both happening at the same time, as long as you look at being present and living in the moment as more of a spectrum. So you could be 100% present, or you could be 50% present, or you could even be 25% present. Basically, he's saying keep a portion of your attention on the present moment at all times. And the way you do that, even while I'm talking, is by having an anchor. And he says the best anchor to keep you in that moment is the breath. Why the breath? Because it is the only thing that is constant in our lives until the moment we die. The moment we stop breathing is the moment we die. So it's something that we can always rely on for it to be there.
Yeah.
And we went to 10-day Vipassana retreat. So for 3 days straight, all we did was focus our consciousness and our awareness on the space from our upper lip to the bottom of our nose, literally this little area, and the breath coming in and out of the nostrils in that area. And so that's my anchor, and I think it's your anchor also. But you can even use like the senses as an anchor also. Like you can use your body, the feeling of your body.
Sometimes in Headspace they mention like your stomach going in and out, which is connected to your breath,
Right.
but it's more of a physical feeling. The breath sometimes can be hard to feel.
Yeah.
So that's like another version of that.
So like right now, we're in the middle of conversation, but I'm trying my best to keep awareness of my breath. But it's a lot harder when you're in conversation because you're breathing, you're talking. So the anchor has now transferred to my weight of my body sitting in the seat so that I can stay fully engaged and fully present and fully aware.
Yeah.
And a good analogy for this, do you remember the one that he tells?
Tell me.
So he talks about your mind is like this ocean. And at the surface of the ocean are all these waves. And waves are constant. There's no ocean that doesn't have a wave. There are lakes, but oceans always have waves at the top. And the deeper you go underneath the ocean, the more stillness you'll find until you get to the very bottom. It's complete stillness, complete darkness, complete stillness. So on the surface, you can have waves. You can be driving. You can be operating machinery. You can be recording a podcast episode. But you want to drop that anchor down to the bottom of the ocean of your mind and always be connected to stillness, no matter what's going on at the top. That's the analogy that he uses that I thought was super powerful as an image. So you use that, either your five senses or your breath, as the anchor.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing.
Yeah. I also think I think that's a great analogy. I also think on a very practical level, whenever you catch yourself like thinking, just going back to your breath, just thinking about that. Okay. Like I just caught myself in this stream of thought. I was thinking, I like my eyes glazed over. I started thinking about what I'm going to do tonight. I caught myself. Now just go, okay, let me come back to my breath as my anchor. Let me just take a couple deep breaths and just try to really pay attention to the in and out. I think that's a very practical tip for when you catch yourself.
Yeah, and it's so much easier to do when you're on the meditation cushion, like you said. But when you're in everyday life, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
That's why I think the anchor analogy and image is something that people can really hold on to, including ourselves. It's been working for me in the middle of this conversation.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's move on to number 3.
So number 3 on our list is to get an accountability partner. So this one I think is so helpful because I think of an accountability partner as such a critical part of any stage of our growth in all areas of life, right? We get an accountability partner if we want to go to the gym, right? Why not have an accountability partner for our minds, for being more mindful, right? So every morning you text me and you say, hey, Nick, I'm going to the gym at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Every night you text me and say, tomorrow morning I'm going to the gym at 7.
Right.
And how's that been working for you?
Great. If I don't do it, then I don't go.
Exactly. It acts as what?
Well, I'm a firm believer that the strongest force in the human mind is our desire to stay consistent with our identity. So when I tell you I am going to do something and I don't do it, that will shatter my identity, and I need to stay true to my identity, or else I become a hypocrite. And the worst thing I want to be is a hypocrite. So when I tell you that I am this, and then
It's not. I don't think it's identity because you are not this. You're saying I want to do this.
I'm attaching that action to my identity.
Yeah, I guess. I don't think you need to go into the depth of identity. It's more so you don't want to not do something you say you're going to do because that will make you feel less about yourself.
That's true.
Like, simply put, it's like I said I'm going to do this, and if I don't do this, then I'm going to feel like shit about myself. That's basically it. You don't want to be a hypocrite.
You don't want to disappoint the people also.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, it's a combination of not wanting to disappoint them, but sometimes they don't give a shit. Like,
yeah, but you give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this concept of accountability partner.
Yeah. So how do we actually do this?
So I think
We used to do this. And we stopped.
Yeah. So the best accountability partner is, for this, in my opinion, for this mindfulness hack, is to get the person you spend the most time with.
Unfortunately, that's you.
Yes. Fortunately, that's you. To be that accountability partner, right? Because of all the time we're spending together, you can tell when I am out of consciousness, when I am
And that
in
person
thought.
also tends to be the one that's closest to you and most willing to call you out on your bullshit and like actually would enjoy it.
Yeah, so this might be your girlfriend, your significant other, your father, mother, whatever the heck it is. Just get a person that can be that for you. And it's just this, it's as simple as saying, hey, I'm really making an effort to try to be more mindful in my life. I feel like I've been lost in thought a lot. I want to really try to put an effort into being more present.
Yeah.
When I'm around you, if you see me lost in thought or not paying attention to you when you're speaking or responding before you've even finished talking, I want you to I'm giving you permission, basically. Call me out on my shit.
Yeah.
Call me out.
It's super powerful.
And giving that permission to that person almost gives them like power, right? And it's a beautiful thing because it's going to make you better.
Yeah.
So your ego will not be ignited when they do call you out because you gave them permission.
Right. Yeah. That sparked an idea for me to keep it even more simple. We might want to choose it like starting with like a meal of the day. Like to keep it simple so that it's not like all day long. Like start with the much smaller commitment. Like try to have a mindful dinner or a mindful lunch and then branch out from there. Like extend the amount of time that you want to be held accountable from there. But like to keep it simple for their accountability partner also, it's like they're going to be hyper vigilant during this time of lunch so that you can start to form the habit, the pattern.
That's a great point. And going right off of that, one thing that I've found from like meals, the thing that pulls you out of consciousness the most is that little vibrating device in our pockets.
Vibrator?
No, our cell phones, bro. So this cell phone, what I have found to be really helpful when I go out with friends or whatever is to actually, or even with Amanda.
Are you adding a fourth hack?
No. This is a part of the mindfulness hack, like accountability. So get your phones, put them to the side of the table, face down, and have that whole meal
without touching
it. And you can put a little incentive in there and say the person who does check their phone has to pay for the entire bill or whatever you come up with. So that's another little hack.
I do that also.
Yeah. So that's good. And then now let's get to our safe word or whatever you want to call it. Talk a little bit about that.
We have a safe word?
The accountability thing.
No, so back in the day, we used to say PON, which was short for power of now. And that was like our trigger to each other when like we were totally unconscious. That was our trigger to like snap out of it and get back into consciousness. But before this episode, we were prepping for it and we were like, let's like choose a word that really will snap us out of our pattern. That kind of doesn't really make any sense, but will work for us moving forward. And the word that just came to me out of nowhere was ketchup. So that's going to be the word that we're going to use when we're trying to hold each other accountable. So if you're acting like an asshole, I'm just going to say catch up. I'm not going to say, yo, you're acting like an asshole. You're not conscious. What the hell? I'm just going to say catch up. Catch up to the present moment, bitch.
Or the redness of the ketchup gets you to stop.
Yeah. Stop being an asshole.
Or stop being lost in thought. Stop being attached to your ego.
Yeah. So catch up. is going to be our safe word. And feel free to use it. Feel free to pick your own. You can use another condiment, mustard, barbecue sauce, whatever the hell you want.
Or it could simply, you can tell the person to ask you a question like, are you here with me right now? Are you here? Are you being present? It could be that simple too, if you don't want to go the route of breaking the pattern and being weirdos like us and using the word catch up.
Okay. So let's wrap this up. Call to action for today's episode is really simple. When we have listicles, it's really, really simple. You just name all three. Number 1, use your 5 senses. Use your hearing, use your taste, use your smell, use your touch, and I forgot the last sense, your sight. Number 2, use an anchor. The best anchor is the breath. If it's not the breath and you're in the middle of talking like me right now, use the weight of your body, either sitting or standing. Just always keep a portion of your attention inside your body, no matter what you're doing. And then number 3, go ahead and get yourself an accountability partner. It's going to do you wonders. And say catch up. And that's about it.
Great.
All right, that wraps up episode 14.
Good job, bro.
You too, man.
Peace.
Take care, guys.
Love you.
Love you.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye now.